I'm Dr. Tim Atimoy again, and thank you for joining. And for those who will be joining after now, or those who will be watching after now, please ensure that you listen to this program at a quiet environment where you're there alone without any distraction, possibly to take notes, and then don't intend to rush through the program. You want to pause at intervals to maybe do some thinking, ruminating, and taking notes, and then you can continue with the program. Also, come with a very open mind. There are certain things I'll be sharing with you in the next couple of minutes that might not be familiar to you. There are certain things that you might have been aware of, but not in that way. So you want to have a very open mind to just listen to what I have to share. And of course, we as humans, we are always in a constant state of comparison. We're always comparing one thing with another. That's how we have been built. And that's where the conscious mind comes in, our cognitive mind, our analytical mind, the mind that analyzes things, always comparing one thing with another. We are always doing that. This is black, why isn't it this? This is fast, why isn't it slow? This is up, why isn't it down? Right? This is rough, why isn't it smooth? We are always in a constant state of comparison at both conscious and at an unconscious level. All right, welcome once again. Today I'll be taking you, or I'll be starting a series with you, which I laid the foundation the last time we had this conversation, and I said I was going to be taking you through a journey around how you can move from where you're currently at, why you're where you're at, and how you can move from there to where you do intend to be. And I'll be taking you back to where it all began. Before you were born, before you showed up here, before you came to the planet, before you started knowing what was right and what was wrong, how you came here, and then how to understand what was playing at the background before you got into the scene, and then how those things that you had no direct impact, influence, nor contact with, how it has influenced and impacted your life up till now, and then how you can change those things. So we're coming to a subject that is very vital. So let me take you through a few illustrations to explain this. Now think about somebody who has a black skin like mine. He has a kind of hair that I do have, and then who speaks like I do, and stuff like that. He's an African, and then he goes to maybe to the US, to Australia, or somewhere in Europe, and then meeting lots of white folks, and then begins to try to talk like them, walk like them, maybe even to try to change his skin to be like theirs, and then do some things to his hair to have the kind of hair that they do have. Well, the truth is, no matter what you do, right, there are some things that are responsible by and large, biologically, psychologically, behaviorally, and every other area that you cannot influence by just trying to change something, your skin, the way you walk, the way you talk, because of other things. These things have been there, and to change it, you need to get back to where it all began. Let me give you this other illustration. Going to work, I often give this illustration, and it often makes sense anytime I do. You just return from work, and then you're sitting in the living room. Then you're thinking about, I want to watch my favorite TV show, evening TV show, and then turn on the TV while you're just resting on the couch, and then you have your car keys on your lap, right? And you're trying to turn on the TV while the program is trying to come up, pop, the power goes off. And then as it does, you're thinking in your mind, oh, I need to turn on the gen so that I won't miss this program. You get up on your seat, and then as you stand up, the keys fall off. And as it falls off, you're trying to grope in the dark to look for the keys where it fell. And then suddenly the street light outside, you look through the window and saw the street light is on. And then you're thinking, why will I stay here in the dark looking for my car keys while there's light outside? I'd rather go outside under the street light and look for the keys. And then you step out, you're looking for the keys while you're groping in the, under the street light looking for the keys. Your very generous and friendly neighbor comes to you and says, "What are you looking for?" And then you say, "My car keys fell, and I was trying to look for it, and then I saw this light, and I'm trying to get it." And then he joins you. You're looking around for the keys, and then suddenly, after some minutes, maybe 15 minutes, he tells you, "Where did you say the keys fell earlier?" And you say the keys fell inside, and then he says, "What are we doing outside?" And then you say, "Well, I think it doesn't make sense where I have my keys fall inside, and then I begin to look for the keys groping in the dark when there's light outside." And then he says, "Do you mean to say your keys fell inside and we are here outside looking for the keys?" And I say, "Yeah, that's what I think, because there's light here." Many a times we do this in life. We try to look for a change outside of us, from our neighbor, from our relatives, from our spouses, from children, siblings, co-worker, whoever, our country. Meanwhile, the change has to begin first on the inside. And if there's darkness on the inside, it's going to be difficult to find that key to knowledge, that key to the change you do desire. But then no matter how long you think it's taking you to find that key, you are more likely to find the key that you from the outside. So with this, it brings me to the session we have today very briefly, which talks about genetics. So I'll use this illustration I often use when I talk about this subject. You have a computer system, the casing, the screen, the keyboard and everything. You like it, it looks so clean, well covered, well built, and you can easily move it around. Nothing is falling off. The screws are all intact, and the system is working perfectly and serving you right, very fast as well. But then, do you know that before all of those beautiful things, right, the casing, the screen, and all those things are being put that beautifies it, there's something called the motherboard, right? You have the motherboard, and that is actually where the program, the original, that's where the actual system is. That is the actual system. Well, not the keyboard. All of these are, some, physical elements or parts of the system we can talk about. But then the motherboard is where the system, the program actually runs from. And then to put in instructions and commands to the program, you type on the keyboard. But then it is the program right there on the motherboard that gives you the feedback that you see on your screen. Now, coming to us as humans, we as humans were born with a motherboard where there were certain programs that were pre-downloaded. They were pre-installed. Now we have, virtual learning. Somebody's running a master's program, PhD or whatever it is, and it's virtual. And then there is something they call virtual reality. Some of them, it's a tablet, it's a VA system. Maybe some they wear it or they put it on and all that. And then some of those things they say they are preloaded. So the program, the courses, the trainings, the entire program has been preloaded. I think there was one I was going to do some 3 years ago. And I was told that the entire 4 years program, was going to be preloaded on that system and shipped to my location. So that's how we were born. We were preloaded, pre-programmed, and then we were shipped in. We were born. So it's an inheritance. It's an inheritance that you got from your parents. Your parents got it from their parents. Your grandparents in this case. Your grandparents got it from their parents, your great grandparents. And it's a very complex pyramid, it's a very complex chart where you talk about you as an individual, you're getting a download from your father and your mother, and then you come to your father on this side. Your father got his from his father and his mother. So you come to your father's father and he got his from his father and his mother. You come to your to your father's mom, and then she got hers from her father and her mother, to at least 3 generations this way, and then you come this other way, 3 generations this way. And at least 3 generations, you have them downloaded down to you. And by and large, everything that you need for this journey, and I mean this journey now, I'm talking about this life you're in, everything you need, the predictions, the experiences, the limitations, your characteristics, your features, your triggers, your stimulations, your interest, your likes, your dislikes, everything around your world, everything around from when you're born to when you will die, are all embedded right there in that download. And then you're born with it. And for those of us in Africa, I'm going to have a special session where I'm going to talk about this. For those of us in Africa, I dare say from my research that part of what we have in our download was the experience our great grandparents and the generation before theirs had. Slave trade. The experience of slave trade, the trauma of slave trade, the pain, the agony, the limitation, the esteem issue of slave trade is actually part of what has been downloaded into our gene. Find an individual, he feels less, he feels inferior, and then he sees certain people with different color, and then he feels and thinks that they are more they are more valuable, they are better than himself, they are more fortunate. I cannot go beyond this is a limitation, whatever it is. And some of these things you're not taught. The thing is just there, it's inborn. So we as Africans, slavery is part of what has been downloaded into our gene. No matter how much you knock your head at the wall, no matter how much you scream at your screen and argue with me, well, that is the fact. It's there in the gene. Now, to change that, to correct that, to get back what is supposed to be or what you want it to be, it is not by trying to go out there and then looking at what people are saying, what people are thinking, what their approvals ratings are. That is just like going under the street light to look for your car keys when you should go inwards to search out for that key. So coming back to the gene, so we have all of these things. You can almost call it predestination. So we were predestined to live a certain life. We were predestined to be certain kind of people, or you were predestined to be a certain kind of person. But then as you begin to run through life with this knowledge you are having, with this exposure you are having, and then with all of the loads of information you have online, to remain and stay at that level, feeling this is how I have been, this has been my thinking pattern, this has been the life I have been exposed to, this has been the reality that I have always seen. I think about this and this is what is happening. When we talk about thoughts and how our thoughts trigger the environment around us, it's a different subject entirely. That's your thinking pattern, your thought pattern, how you interact with your environment, how you act and react to your external environment that gives you more and more of it. All of those things you were predestined to think, act, and live that way. But then, is it a death sentence? Is it such that you cannot go beyond this? This is a spell, and you cannot go beyond this? Actually not. So there's what we call epigenetics, which is going to be discussed as a build-up on the subject that we're having today. But I just want to lay the foundation, and you just have to accept it, that by and large, 95% of who you are, looking at your past since you were born, is a play out. It's a showcase, like on the computer screen, of what was embedded, predestined, programmed, or pre-programmed into your gene. You were born with this, and then you now see life that way. With this, I hope I've been able to build a background around the subject. So in the next session, we're going to be talking about with the program, and they were born with it. Was there any part I played at birth or while grown up that further reinforced that thing on the gene, on the motherboard, or in the gene, or that thing on the motherboard? Was there any role I played in my lifetime or in my life growing up that further reinforced, reaffirmed, and reconfirmed those things that I came with? The answer is yes. And there were three factors. The first, your parents, your siblings, the environment where you grew up in, they played a major part in reinforcing those things that you came in with. From age 0 to 7, you didn't have your cognitive. Remember, I spoke at the beginning, we are always at a constant state of comparison. I like this, I don't like this. I say yes to this, I say no to this. There are certain, this is blue, this isn't blue. There are certain comparisons we're putting in our head, all right? At every point in time. But 0 to 7, we have very low cognitive mind, because it's not matured yet. There are no bases, there are no grounds, there are no reasons for comparison. So what we were told at those times, which brings us to epigenetics at some point, further reaffirms and reconfirms those things, mostly negative things, limiting things that were in the gene. When you now come to your teacher, where your teacher told you, you can do this, you cannot do this, you're good at this, you are more likely to succeed in life, you will struggle in this subject or this area, this career path in life. Those things further reaffirmed, especially somebody coming from a background where they are not so educated. Maybe grandparents, they never went to school, they were farmers, great-grandparents were even slaves and all that. So that intelligence, so when I come to IQ in terms of book, it isn't so high for whatever reason. I'm not saying that is also in the gene, but I'm trying to drive home a point. So somebody trying to read through his or her history and seeing that nobody really has been exceptional academically in my lineage, right? Now trying to now go to school, and then teacher says you will not be good at this. That further reaffirms it, because you don't have anybody to compare that with. Like my great-grandfather got scholarship and he studied abroad, and then he came to Nigeria. He came to my home country, wherever country you're watching this from, and then he was a pioneer of this. He was the first person to have done this in my country. And now you do not have anything like that. Such an individual is most likely to believe that and run through life that way. And the third category, and we'll bring this session to a close, is your clergy. Whichever religion, Buddhist, you're Jew, you're Christian, you're Muslim, you're Buddhist, whatever religion it is, even pagan. Now there are some sort of people you go to who tell you about where you're from, who tell you about eternity, who tell you about life after now, who tell you about God, whatever God it is that they teach you about. Now, so they tell you certain things about life, how this world works, the laws that operate around the world, what are your limitations in terms of spiritualities and all of those things. Those various things, they actually limit by and large they actually limit by and large, and as they do, they actually tell you what is and what isn't. And as they do tell you what is and then what isn't, you seem to take those things as the truth. And as you've taken those things as the truth, you go through life believing that those are those things, and then except you get back to the program to decide to change it, except to get back into the dark to search out for those keys, you will search through life and will never be able to amount to so much, because life works by principles. Life works by principles, by laws. When we talk about laws, it's a different subject I'm going to be talking about. But let me talk about two: the law of sowing and reaping. The law of sowing and reaping does not regard religion, nationality, educational background, skin color, or whatever it is, right? And I often give this analogy. I'm a Christian by religion, and I often say this: you have two men, right? One is a murderer, a thief, and the other is a Christian, a born-again Christian, believes in God and he does what is right. And then this fellow believes in God, he prays, God knows him, this person, is in good rapport with me, he's born again. And then he takes a seed of corn, and then goes to an environment where you have paving stone, and then takes that seed, tries to move, two paving stones, try to give space, and then put the seed there, and then brings the paving stones back. He will stay there, speak in tongues, do whatever he wants to do. 6 weeks, 2 months, nothing will grow out. But this other fellow drags somebody from the highway, drags him to the garden close by, and then shoots him dead. And while the blood is dripping right there in the garden, gets a seed of corn, digs that ground, puts that thing there. Around the season when you should plant, corn, give that in 3 months, you're going to have several combs of corn. Even though this man is a murderer, he's somebody that does not even deserve to live, but then he's planting something and it's growing. Why this other just holy man did the same thing, but his did not grow? It's simple law. That's how the universe works. It does not regard or respect anybody, nationality, where you are located. It does not regard or respect any of such. I want to give another one, and then we'll bring this to a close. This fellow, same set of people, all right? This one does not believe, or even does not know, does not have knowledge about what this particular law is, right? So he sees fire, the building is burning, and then from the second, the third, or the fourth floor, decides to jump, and then thinks something will carry him. He begins to float in the air. No, he's going to fall, smash himself down. If he doesn't break his bones, he might even die. It's called the law of gravity, regardless where he is on earth. He's in the US, he's in UK, he's in Europe, he's in Asia, he's in Africa, he's in Eastern Africa, Western Africa, Southern, wherever he is, he tries that, he falls down. He's a Christian, he's a Muslim, he's a Jew, he's a Buddhist, he's an atheist, he's white, black, educated, man, woman, or whatever your sexual orientation is. That individual will fall down. If he doesn't break his bone alone, he might even die. It's called the law of gravity. So also this idea we're sharing, there are certain laws that govern the universe. I'll be sharing them with you from time to time, on this platform. And then please ensure that you sit back, you want to listen to this again, and evaluate yourself. What has been limiting you from the past? When you look at your other siblings, or anybody around the family, so do they have all of these limitations as well? And then in the next session we're going to be having, I'll be sharing with you what roles you actually played as well in further reinforcing these things, and then what you can do to get yourself out of this box and then begin to live a limitless life. Because one of my most powerful creeds and things that I believe so much, in fact, that is the motto for my foundation, which is anything is possible. You can do, have anything in this world, so long you're able to follow the principles, the laws, and the rules that do govern these things. Thank you all so much. I am Dr. Tim Atimoy, and it's my pleasing pleasure, and as well as a privilege having this session with you all. Thank you all.